What's going on, everybody? This is Dat Work coming live. How do I approach this? I've thought about this probably for 8 months, to be honest. Um, Sometimes I think I posted the other day, folks think I'm a know-it-all. I don't really have that in me. Um, my topic today in a little series that I've been working on is about trauma-informed care. It's been we'll say a buzzword or thought for in the world that I'm living in probably for the past 4 or 5 years. And I came into my understanding of it through listening, I guess, with the most humility I can. I got a little ego, but from those who are experts, folks who are immersed in trauma informed care for both guardians, adults, and youth. And I went through a training last year in TBRI, Trust Based Relational Intervention. And I went into it with a whole lot of ego, thinking I knew something until I shut my mind down and took in the information and understood the tools and the gems inside of it in the teaching and trying to apply some of the methodology the best I can, coming from a space that I say I did was not well equipped to do some of the work I'm doing unless I was able to evolve. In that, I learned from, I would say, experts, folks that I really do, whether they know it or not. Hopefully, they listen to it. I admire you for your ability to sit in that space often enough to make sure you are offering the best care for everyone around you. What I did notice in it, and because I have a problem with critique and analysis, is sometimes I felt like it lacked a focus for the youth maybe that I serve and youth that I would say are in what we now want to use the term, I hate the term, but whatever, a BIPOC community. So black and indigenous and people of color youth, black, brown youth, indigenous youth. And I wondered how this trauma informed care looked for them when they're inside these systems and they're getting the care. I'm not saying people don't care. I'm saying that maybe we need to add on to some of the thinking and some of the methodology. So I'm hoping in this people listen close, not with your ears, because our ears will lie to us. Listen with your nervous system. I want you to feel this in your ribs in that deep ancestral place where harmony lives, right? Even when language gets lost, even when the language gets lost, it still exists in these spaces. And I'm not trying to do the polite version of approaching this. I'm not doing the what some will see as the professional development, check the box off coffee, PowerPoint, trauma talk. That's not my approach to this. I'm hoping to see this in a different light and to present it to folks in a different light. That's not what I'm here for. Today, and for the rest of the series, I'm going to talk about the wound beneath the trauma behind the trauma, the pain that nobody wants to say out loud because we're scared the truth might rearrange the room. Folks start getting fidgety, crossing legs, crossing arms, and get a little uncomfortable. That's where I come in. This small series I have is about trauma informed care, but I hope for real this time. I'm not talking about this laminated poster version, not the breathe with me, sweetie, let's use our calm voice version. Even though I understand that breath is holy, believe me, I understand that breath is holy and calm is medicine and connection. Believe this connection can resurrect any kid. That is the truth. And I understand that to be the truth. This is about trauma informed care when the world is still traumatizing you, when the danger isn't in the past tense. And sometimes that's how trauma is approached from what I've seen and listened to. I'm not just throwing these out there to the folks. And the threat isn't a memory, right? Sometimes this is a hallway for some kids, it's a classroom, it's a traffic stop if you've ever experienced that as a black or brown person. It's in the policies we see, it's in the silence. It can be in a stare from an authority figure, a teacher, whatever it may be. It's definitely in the curriculum. And this is a lawsuit waiting to happen if somebody like myself says racism in some staff meeting. This is the trauma that I'm talking about. This that people, the black and brown folks deal with every day, and I'm talking about youth. So this podcast is for the babies who don't just need to be healed. I'm saying they need to be liberated and free. They don't need to be healed. They need to be liberated and free, right? So when they say trauma, most of these black and brown kids, I hear myself. I hear that. That's me. Every district in America wants to say trauma informed now. Like I said, this is some new badge that everyone wants to wear. It's the new buzzword. It's the new funding lane for a lot of organizations and nonprofits, and I run one myself. And listen, I am not here to knock the science behind all of this. I'm not that crazy because the science is real. Adversity rewires the brain. Stress shifts the nervous system, right? We understand that. Pain lives in the body long after the moment passes. Attachment wounds show up as behavior, right? These are the things that are real. It's not biography. This is real talk, as we said. So most models like TBRI, trust-based relational intervention, they have changed the game. That's an absolute truth. They gave the language for the nervous system. They made caregivers ask the most revolutionary question that could be asked. What happened to you? Instead of what's wrong with you? What happened to you instead of what's wrong with you? And for that, I honor and respect. Flowers should be given, and that is the truth. Because connection is medicine. Co-regulation is science, not softness. Safety is biology, not charity. But here's where I think we have to breathe deep and really lean in and tell sometimes this complicated truth that is not necessarily being told. When black or brown kids walk into a school or clinic or group home, what happened to them is not just a moment, it's an entire world. What happened to them is not just a moment, it's an entire world. And that world didn't stop happening when they walked through any door. I need folks to understand this. Felt safety means nothing if the world outside still feels like a threat. Can't have felt safety when you step outside into that world and it still feels like a threat to you. Healing isn't just internal, it's environmental as well. And trauma isn't just history, it's actually geography as well. And a geography that has skin tone in America, and race, and ethnicity, and class. So we got to sit with that. But the room always seems to get quiet when we say race. I'm sure people like Jamal, you talk about is race, 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 race. It's race baiting. This is just the reality of what is here, folks. You ever notice how trauma training is all open palms and gentle eyes until someone like myself may jump up and say, well, what about racism? I've seen it. I've done it. I've tried it. The room stiffens up, throats tighten up. Somebody suddenly needs to go take a pee break or get coffee. Whoever's teaching it, the leader clears their throat like truth is a choking hazard for them. See, we love talking about trauma in the past tense most of the time, but we hate talking about trauma in the present tense. And we definitely hate talking about trauma in a racial tense. That's just the truth. Because if we admit that racial trauma is absolutely real and not this sidebar or nuance and not a metaphor, it's not a mood, but it is measurable neurobiological injury. It is measurable. Then systems have to do more than what we call regulate kids. Systems got to learn how to regulate themselves. And institutions hate accountability the way little babies hate taking nap time. So I'm going to say it plain, and everything that I deliver maybe in 4 episodes if I choose to. You can't be trauma informed and racially silent. Can't be trauma informed and be racially silent. Can't be trauma informed and be racially silent. Silence is a nervous system threat. Black kids and brown kids don't need you to whisper and dim the lights in the school. That still suspends them for breathing wrong. Latinx babies don't need fidgets and soft corners if the family still feels there's a fear of deportation and schools ask about documents before they ask about what these kids' dreams are. Indigenous youth don't need a wellness wall if they still got to walk hallways built on stolen land and their culture erased daily. Trauma informed means belonging informed. Belonging means identity safe. Identity safe means anti racist, not neutral. Neutral won't work. Neutrality is violence, wrapped in this professional tone I hear all the time, right? And the science has said this all along. So let's talk about the science. Since feelings sometimes make people start to get fidgety, I'm sure some folks want to turn this off by now. Chronic racial stress raises cortisol, alters the immune function, shrinks hippocampal volume, hijacks the prefrontal cortex functioning, right? We know all of this science. It changes epigenetic expressions across generations. We know that this exists. This is not vibe talk. This is not opinions. This is biology 101 that most folks know. Kids don't need mindfulness breaks to survive racism. Mindfulness isn't bulletproof. If a, it isn't even policy proof. It isn't stereotype proof. You can breathe through a spelling test, but you can't belly breathe through a school police officer, maybe, let's say, putting his hand on his belt because some black kid laughed too loud in the hallway. And if you don't think this is reality, it is. And don't get me wrong, mindfulness, I understand, is sacred. Breath is ancestral intelligence. But coping with these things, which some folks are asking kids to do, isn't liberation. Self regulation is not self protection, and self protection isn't justice. What I'm saying is trauma informed without anti racism is like an emotional nap time during your house being on fire. The world outside the door is what I'm talking about. We tell kids, uh, when you come in here, you're safe here. But do we mean like safe from noise, safe from peers, or safe sometimes from us as the adults? Tell me how a child is supposed to feel safe. When the school flags every, let's say, hoodie that they put on as a threat, but not every hallway they walk down as a trigger all day long, right? How is a young black boy supposed to calm his fight or flight when he's been trained since birth that flight gets you caught, fight gets you caged, and freeze gets you up out of here, gets you forgotten for life on this earth, physically. Tell me how a girl is supposed to trust your tone when every time she stands up for herself, she's labeled as defiant, disrespectful, loud, and aggressive. But we call the same leadership tone sometimes, truthfully, we call it leadership tone when young white girls do it. Tell me how a migrant kid is supposed to relax when every siren sounds like a story that their cousin didn't get to finish because they're up out of here. This isn't theoretical. What I'm saying is not abstract, it isn't academic. This is biology living inside of sociology. And these babies out here deserve more. They deserve more from us than calm corners. They deserve what I call freedom corners. And I understand TBRI is necessary, but it may not be enough the way it's being presented. So here's the tension. I'm not here to tear down TBRI or trauma science. I'm here to say maybe we need to extend it. TBRI says to regulate, connect, correct. Regulate, connect, correct. Regulate, connect, correct. I'm saying regulate, connect, empower, liberate. Regulate, connect, empower, liberate. TBRI says felt safety. I'm saying identity safety, system safety, and ancestral safety. Identity safety, system safety, ancestral safety. Those three versus the one. TBRI says, what happened to you? That's as real as it can get. What I say is, what is still happening to you? And how do we build a world where we make it stop the best we can? Attachment matters. I understand this neurobiology matters, co-regulation, absolutely, all of those matter. If trauma-informed care doesn't teach resistance, if it doesn't teach critical consciousness, if it doesn't reference Fred Hampton, let's say, and Harriet Tubman with the same respect as Dr. Siegel and Dr. Purvis, we have a problem. Then we do not have what I'm saying trauma-informed care for the kids I serve. We're doing what I'm calling trauma compliance care. Healing isn't obedience. Healing is agency. And this isn't just care. This isn't just clinical. This is movement, work dressed up as mental health. This is pedagogy and protest. This is curriculum and courage. This is therapy and theory and love that don't flinch in any situation and in any space. Because I understand the nervous system doesn't heal in isolation. It heals in belonging. It heals in belonging. It heals in truth. It heals in power reclaimed. Not this power sometimes that we're asking these young people to avoid. I know my ancestors did not survive unspeakable things to have descendants calm down in the face of injustice. We don't teach kids how to stay quiet when oppression is in their face. I hope we teach them how to stay whole in it and then how to learn to dismantle it. This isn't self-care. This is self-determination. And all I'm saying is we need to add on to make a newer holistic trauma model. And I'm looking to build new equations inside of it. Safety plus identity plus belonging plus resistance plus joy equals full healing. This is what I'm talking about and hopefully trying to give. I'm no expert, but I'm going to give it the best I can. This is like TBRI meets bell hooks, right? Or polyvagal theory meets Ida B. Wells. Attachment science meets Audre Lorde. Somatic healing that we love to talk about meets hip hop. TFCBT meets racial socialization. Neurobiology meets radical black traditions that we read about. This is trauma intervention meets liberation psychology. That's what I'm hoping to extend and add on to this. Because under all of that, there's one component that we all understand: love. Love that doesn't perform, love that organizes, love that looks a kid in the eye like, I see your nervous system and I see your revolution. I see your nervous system and I see your revolution. This is the call to courage. So before I go on this journey, maybe for 3 or 4 episodes, I'm going to ask the hard questions. And I've been asking the hard questions, so I'll ask it now. So maybe the ones who taught me this can correct me. Do we want trauma informed care or trauma informed comfort? Let's really ask ourselves that. Do we want healing or do we want harmony? Because we can regulate a kid's breathing all day long. But if we never regulate the system, we're not healers. We're not looking to heal folks. We're just handling them. And I'm telling you, Black and brown and indigenous kids, they don't need handlers anymore. They don't. They need partners in their liberation. So I'm asking folks, breathe with me now, not to calm down, but to wake up. See, where I'm from, we say we inhale truth, exhale fear. Again, slowly, and we'll do it with purpose. Inhale truth, exhale fear. I'm never here on this earth for the rest of my life to make any of the babies quiet. I'm here to hopefully try to make them whole the best I can, to make them free and liberated. So welcome to that work once again. And this is what I'm calling the Liberation Informed Trauma Series. And I hope people take a listen and don't think I'm pointing fingers. I'm just hoping to add on to something that already exists. So remember, stay true, stay vigilant, always stay in love, and remember, definitely stay free.